Welcome to ECCB Connects. This is a production of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank designed to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. This week, we'll look at the collaboration between the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and the ECCU Bankers Association on the ECCU First Step Savings Account, an initiative helping to make banking more accessible to everyone across the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Season 28 of ECCB Connects is coming to an end. The final episode of the season will be released on 30th July. We thank you for staying connected with us during the season and hope that you have gained some useful tips to build a solid financial future. We will be back in September to discuss more issues that are important to you and to share with you how the ECCB is helping to advance the good of the people of our Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. While we are on break, do stay connected with us on our social media platforms at ECCB Connects.
Thanks for staying connected. For many people, opening a bank account has felt out of reach, especially if they did not have all the required documents. Now, that is changing. Thanks to the collaboration between the ECCU Bankers Association and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, bankers across the ECCU are now rolling out what is referred to as the ECCU First Step Savings Account. This new option allows individuals to open a bank account with just one piece of valid identification, making it easier for more people to get started with formal banking. In a recent town hall meeting held in St. Christopher, St. Kitts and Nevis, President of the ECCU Bankers Association, Rolf Phillips, as well as the chair and co-chair of the ECCU Ease of Account Opening Working Group, Norland Gabriel-Boyea and Ron Leon, who helped to shape the initiative, share with us how it all came together and what it means for the people of our currency union.
We have continued to collaborate with the central bank to improve access to financial services. Many people are not aware of the clearinghouse, automated clearinghouse for processing checks, and the central processing of credit card payment transactions, all of which were collaborative efforts between the banks in the ECCU and the central bank. So this is our first effort, however, that is directly customer-facing to impact how customers access to financial services and access to having a bank account across the ECCU. I should say, however, that banks individually have been continually making efforts to try to make it easier for customers to open bank accounts. But I'm sure you would appreciate that if every bank is working on this individually or as part of a local association, they are interpreting legislation and saying, okay, how far can we go and what exactly can we do and how do we put these arrangements in place that customers can have an easier time. And some customers are in fact benefiting already or have benefited over the last few years from an easier process. But where the banks have had a huge difficulty is doing that in a consistent manner, because each bank is interpreting the legislation, seeing how far they can go, and deciding which customers qualify for which types of accounts with them. So a customer could go from one bank to the next, same customer, and have an entirely different experience where one bank might ask him for one piece of identification and proof of address, and he goes to another bank and they ask him for two pieces of identification and two pieces of two address confirmations and a job letter before he can open a bank account. So very difficult for the banks themselves or the local associations to provide a real consistent approach that says, okay, how do we identify that 14% of customers who are having difficulty accessing financial services, and how do we create a consistent process where, regardless of where they go to, which bank or licensed financial institution they go to in the currency union, they know they can have access to a first step account that gives them an entry point into the financial system and financial inclusion.
In other jurisdictions where it is apparent that they're underbanked or unserved sectors, these types of accounts are actually very much encouraged to ensure that we don't have disenfranchised persons in our economies and within our systems. So, for example, we may have a group such as a women's group with a small business trying to transact and trying to manage their deposits and trying to pay their bills appropriately. And these types of accounts actually helps from a developmental perspective for groups who are disenfranchised or who are not served by the traditional banking system. More importantly, this account called First Step, that's a deliberate name, and it's very much in keeping with what this does for an individual, because you're given access, a first step into the financial system, the legitimate financial system. And from that first step, it enables you to plan and to achieve further goals. So from that, you can establish some level of credit worthiness with your institution. That means you can then access credit. You can then look at other products, such as insurance type products. You can then look at things like beginning investment and saving types products. So it's developmental in nature.
And again, with the help of the ECCB, they've done some really good work, the Ease of Account Opening Group. We've been able to comb the legislation. We've been able to look at international standards and expectations, and we're able to come with that resolution. And that's what we get with the experience. The experience was absolutely wonderful. Challenging because of these hurdles, but wonderful because it showed us that we could collaborate. We could come together with one common goal, and we've done it in the past, and I think we'll continue to do so, with one common goal, which is to ease account opening for everybody in this region. We were able to comb through legislation, something that I'm sure a lot of bankers had not done before, again with the help of the experts at the ECCB. And we were able to understand what is really required, which is now where we're at. One form of ID to open an account. That is an amazing resolution that we have between the banks and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank.
And again, in a collaborative effect, the banks have agreed with the central bank that we will offer or provide an interest factor of 2% on these accounts.
Put your hands together for the banks, please. Now, remember, there's no charge on this account. We insisted, and they agreed. The central bank insisted that they must pay interest, and they agreed. There is a cost to operate a bank account to administer it for the banks, but given what we're trying to do to include, there is going to be. And the 2% is the minimum savings rate. So that's how that we got to 2%. So anywhere in the currency union where a savings account exists, you are required by law, Monetary Council directive, that you pay 2%. You'll be paid 2%. So that's what you're getting. So first step is really inclusive. So whether you have $1,000 or $100 or $10, 2%. And that is really to encourage people to save and then to be able to expand, as was said earlier, to other services that are available.
And now for this week's financial tip.
The 30-day rule. Whenever you are considering making a frivolous purchase, wait 30 days before purchasing that item. Quite often, you will see that the urge to make that purchase would have passed, or you would have completely forgotten about the purchase, and you would have saved yourself money simply because you waited.
We've come to the end of this week's episode of ECCB Connects. We heard about the collaboration between the ECCU Bankers Association and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank on the ECCU First Step Savings Account, offering the opportunity for more and more people to access banking services. Thank you for watching, and we invite you to join us again next week when we will be back with the final episode in Season 28 of ECCB Connects. Until then, stay connected.